watching Fijivillage Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. We've been trying our very best to get the special guest for tonight. Of course, it has been a busy few months after Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka took up office on Christmas Eve, and after that Parliament session, of course, a lot of immediate things had to be done by the government, but our request was there, and the promise has been delivered. Tonight we have Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka talking to you directly about the first 100 days has finished for the People's Coalition government. What are the issues that people are asking about? We had asked you to send questions as well, and I'll be fielding those questions to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, thank you very much for availing yourself for our audience this evening.
Vijay, it's a pleasure to be back. Honored to be accorded this straight talk opportunity with the people, your audience, your very loyal audience. They've been with you for some years now, and they quite enjoy your programs.
Thank you for that compliment, Prime Minister, and also for the audience. After 100 days in office, we passed that. The coalition government has already provided an update. You did a national address on it. As the head of government, have you assessed the performance of your cabinet ministers? How do you feel they're doing, and how would you rate them?
Vijay, we have, yes, we finished the first 100 days, and we made an account of what we had done to the people. We announced that, and I have not really had time to be assessing the performance of each cabinet minister. As you would appreciate, in the first 100 days, we've been just trying to work together as a cabinet of 3 coalition partners. And that has worked well. I have not had any opportunity or no opportunity has arisen where I should really be waving the big stick at the cabinet ministers and saying to them, look, this has come to my attention, my notice, you better behave. Apart from some Facebook posts, 2 in particular that I have had to speak to my colleagues on, and just told them, look, you're on candid camera, you're on candid press, you're on social media every time, whether you want it or not. We're out there in the public. People are watching us, they're listening to us. So we've got to be very careful about what we say and what we do. And not only that, we may feel that it's totally innocent. What we do is totally innocent. But in the views, in the opinion of those that are watching us and listening to us, they do not know the background of why we're doing certain things, nor the words you said before, nor the words you said after. But a few words in the middle, they may capture that and focus on them. And that could be totally misinterpreted, and it takes a lot of effort to firefight after that is out. So we have to be conscious of being watched and be careful all the time.
Everything within context as well.
Of course.
And now you had, it was reported that you had some meetings with Charanjit Singh, Minister for Multi-Ethnic Affairs,
Yes.
and Attorney General Shiromi Turanga.
Yes.
It was played out, and some people were trying to create a situation that you were trying to take disciplinary action. Can you clear the air for people? What was that about?
The number of people that had spoken out against Honorable Charanjit and some of the things he had said in New Zealand while he was on an official visit there, and also a very innocent picture of the Honorable Attorney General on a flight to America. That was blown out of proportion. People did not understand that cabinet ministers are entitled to business class travel, and when they do, they should be mindful that there are people out there who are probably not aware of the entitlements and probably just saying, working out the costs and working out their own personal situation, saying this is incongruous for people to be flying around the world in high fare paying seats in the aircraft while we are struggling here. We all struggled at some stage, and then there are issues of comfort for those in office to ensure that they perform well when they get to their destinations.
Now, questions have also been raised by some people about the religious, mainly Christian messages and the content put on official government platforms. People are saying that no one religion should be preferred, as Fiji is a secular state. What is your stand on religion in the state?
I agree with the view that we should be mindful of what people take offense against when we openly profess our religion. We must expect to be spoken against. I do not see any problem. I meet my friends and they tell me, "I'll see you tomorrow," and I automatically say, understanding who they are, and I said, "Inshallah." If it's God's will, and that's how he said it. He would say it to me as a Muslim brother or sister of mine. And if I said to him, "I'll see you tomorrow," and he would probably say the same to me. That doesn't mean that he's trying to promote Islam to me. It's just the way he converses. It's just he or she converses. It's just the way they conduct their normal conversation. And in our case, when we're talking, it might be in a mixed group where we should really be mindful of what we say.
Is there any plan of a cabinet reshuffle? There's some posts going around that maybe the Prime Minister is looking at a cabinet reshuffle around budget or after budget?
Cabinet reshuffles are a normal thing in government, and someone might ask for a change. I picked from a group where only one had worked in a cabinet before, and that was me. And Honorable Pio Tikundondua had worked briefly in a cabinet, in the Fiji First post-14 elections cabinet. So I had to just call out those I thought were aligned with the portfolios that I wanted to give out to them, and gauged without any prior knowledge of capabilities in the performance as ministers in those portfolios. I made the appointment that way. So it is natural for either them or I to say, I think you're not comfortable here. What do you think? And if that's the case, then we put them to somewhere they'd be more comfortable in, but most importantly, where they can perform to their optimum capability in the interest of the nation.
So reshuffle is coming up?
Yes.
When? How soon?
It'll depend on when I want to announce it, and it should not be seen as a punitive move for any of them. It's just administrative.
So coming up soon?
Not soon.
Based on your decision?
It will come up.
It will come up.
Yeah.
What is your message to people, Prime Minister, who are saying that the coalition government seems to be favouring or siding with the Itoke community, even in major government appointments? You would know some of those thoughts have been expressed by some.
Yes.
What is your message to the people watching out there?
They should not be unduly concerned about that. At the moment, we are trying to put in the best qualified and those that we, the ministers, would be most comfortable with as our advisors, especially from boards. When we have a mission, we want to put the task force for the mission, that people that we trust, people we know, and people we can rely on to perform for us and for the people.
Let's talk about National Economic Summit. You first expressed your views about certain costs. Then it was clarified that it was the budget, estimated budget. It doesn't mean that amount would be used. Estimated budget was 360,000. Information came out again after that that majority of it was through sponsorships and it was not through tax dollars. Issue about Kalavata came up, the venue hire, how much it would be costing. A new thing for Fiji after many years. where the amounts are being discussed openly in the form of accountability and transparency. Do we expect some changes going forward in how these consultation sessions are held and the cost?
First of all, I'll have to get a post-mortem report from the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, who ran that economic summit with the expenses given to us. How much did it cost? Where was it budgeted from? Once I get that, and I'll be able to see, okay, these are the areas where we can economize on. These are the areas we can ask for sponsorship in. But let us not forget that the summit was a function of the government. So government must pay. Issues like Kalavata, that probably was the church of the Kalavata was probably sponsored by someone who had a naming right on the shirt or chamba or whatever it was that was worn on the occasion. But when you look at the expenditure, somebody paid some money to get those shirts or chamba or whatever. And that money went to the tailors or the manufacturers of the garments. And when it went to them, it paid for so many workers, and also to pay for those that for the fabric that came from overseas, and we paid for the logistics. So when you look at it from the capitalistic viewpoint, you are supporting by the expenditure, you're supporting so many people. Where it came from would probably be the most concern for those who are saying, oh, too costly. When we find out or when we tell them that all sponsored, they'll probably say, why spend the money there? Why don't you put it here? So we will never stop arguing about whether the expenditure was too high, whether we should or we should not have paid that money.
But you have committed that you will continue to publish whatever you spend money on.
Yes.
In form of accountability.
Yes, that will have to be done.
And defend your position based on why those decisions have been
Correct.
done. You have said in your earlier statement, the 100 days announcement, your government is acutely aware that before the creation of the new Fiji, we must first deal with big challenges and problems, such as managing the national debt, restoring basic services, repairing damaged infrastructure. This will cause some financial pain, but when it is over, we can move forward with confidence. What is your message to the people based on that after your 100 days message?
The message is still the same. We're going to continue to have problems with finances and with our economy, but it's the proper running of that economy. At the moment, we cannot go and build some expensive new bridges. What we have to do is to repair the existing ones. So make sure that travelers are traveling in comfort, repair the potholes, improve the water supply, and so on. The water is really critical. We need to look after that and replace the old infrastructure that has been there for some time. In fact, I remember opening the old mains that came into the Langara area. That was about 30 years ago. So we've got to be very mindful that these things will cost money. They haven't just come suddenly. They have been deteriorating over time, and the maintenance costs that should have been allocated in the last, since they were built, should have been maintained, and maybe we were negligent in the allocation of funds to the maintenance of the infrastructure that were laid down in those years, resulting in sudden realization that a lot of them need replacement. They will eventually need replacement, but in the meantime, we need to make traveling, we make the water supply satisfactory, and look at other alternatives in those areas. Right now, we're going through a very dry spell. Are we getting to the beginning of La Nina, where you have reduced rainfall? we do not know. But nature balances itself out. But while it is balancing from between La Nina and El Nino, we have a period where there's not enough water. And the population has grown, particularly in the urban areas served by the water supply system of Water Authority of Fiji. So they need to be corrected.
We had the Water Authority of Fiji CEO here on the show earlier this week, and he's saying they need $800 million over a course of 5 years to try to catch up. We have a Lami Silva Nosori corridor,
Yeah.
where the pipelines for the water that is being produced and tax dollars spent on it, 60 million liters of water is wasted through leaks. 47% of the water leaks every day. What is the priority for government, and what will you do about that?
What we can afford to do is to find those leaks and patch them up before you lay the new mains. If we're talking about 800 million, almost $1 billion over the next 5 years, that's affordable. It's not exorbitant, and it is affordable. It can be budgeted for.
So there you go, for those who are facing the water disruptions. Comment straight from the Prime Minister based on what the Water Authority of Fiji CEO has said, and the budget is coming up in July. Also, people will be looking at that. People like Sabinathan Narumbe, Unity Fiji leader, and the Deputy Prime Minister, Finance Minister, Professor Biman Prasad, have said in the past, and this is leading up to the elections end of last year, that $500 million to $1 billion is wasted by the government through corruption, abuse of office and pilferage every year. Has a proper analysis been done, and based on this, how much wastage has been cut or will be cut?
I do not know. In fact, Mr. Narumbe would be in a better position to say where and how and what and how much. So, because he was involved in the Reserve Bank for a long time, he should have known all the time how much has come in. But over the years, I've always asked. In fact, I asked my late cousin, who was Permanent Secretary for Works, how much of the budget actually goes to the road budget? And he would say, okay, this is how much it costs to the material, this is how much the plant, and this is how much we paid the workers. So that is the budget. And I don't know whether we do that all the time, but it's something that must be done all the time, so that you know when the government puts down 500 million for this, you can see exactly where the millions have gone.
It is a concern, definitely, for people watching, that if Mr. Narumbe is saying $1 billion was wasted as part of the budgets by the previous government, to find that actual amount of money so that we can turn that into saving or reprioritizing where it's needed the most, like water.
Yes, if that $1 billion he's talking about is gone.
I'm talking about the new budget that's coming up.
Well, the new budget is coming on. We got to make sure that it doesn't suffer the same fate. We have to really be very careful and be very prudent in the expenditure of the budget. Now,
the Fiscal Review Committee has made a few recommendations and said it will come back to the government to make decisions. The big one was a suggestion that for VAT to be increased to, but not more than 15% across the board. What is your view on it as the head of government?
VAT is levied on us when we spend. Right? If you raise it and people see that, oh, that's going to be costing me too much, well, I will not buy. What will you do? I'll just produce my own. Basic things that you can reduce your purchase on. It's a tax on your spending. So whether we will actually see an increase in revenue, you know, you can work it out on paper. When you say it's 15%, now we were charging 9, 10%, so it'll grow by an additional whatever, 6%. How much is that how much that amounts to in your collection. Will you get it? Or will the people just say, no, in that case we will just not spend?
What is your stand?
Sorry?
Should it go up?
My view is that I'm going to be the final arbiter, so I will not say whether it should go up or not, because I will make my decision based on the social platform we're going to be taxing, that is the people.
Now, just because of that, when it was announced that there is a recommendation on the table, of course government will have the final say, you will be the final arbiter, and it affects the pocket straight away. There was an uproar. Why VAT? Why VAT on basic food items? Right now, zero VAT on a basket of goods, about 21 goods that are zero VAT, the rest are 9%. And if it is to go to 15, the argument is that the Fiscal Review Committee says the money is needed to provide government services. What's your view based on that? Or will you leave it based on facts and figures coming in? Or will you think of, oh, my citizens will pay more?
It's both an economic and a social matter for the leader of the government to finally decide. If I say to the Minister of Finance, we cannot afford the 15%, the increase to 15%, how else can we do that? Can we adjust, can we retain the same level and work on your expenditure? What in the expenditure can you afford to delay? What can you, there are certain things that you cannot avoid. It's the cost of governance, our debt servicing, and then the capital expenditure. Those are the things that we cannot really, we may be able to work on the capital expenditure, but there are other things that we may need to increase, that increase more than what we're now using. And that is on the maintenance of the existing infrastructure to make them workable or usable. I have not been given the report and the 14 resolutions, which I will take, and the Cabinet Subcommittee on Budget will look at it again, and then we together will make a decision on the 15 or more, or from static or increase. We will have to decide at that too.
You're watching Fijivillage Straight Talk. I am Vijay Narayan. We'll be back after this break.
First half of Fiji, boy.
How come?
I'm watching it live on Facebook.
Sensi, my uncle just sent the score for the second half. Huh? Yo!
But your uncle know, I'm watching it live on Facebook. We just
Oh,
3 minutes into the
your
first
Facebook
half.
is
You
slow.
don't know
Hey,
anything. What your uncle know?
Hey,
You don't know anything.
you don't know anything.
Hey!
We trying to do some work here. What's happening?
We're watching Fiji's game live on Facebook. I'm watching it live and his uncle saying things. What your uncle know?
It's not the same. It's
Yo.
stuff, man.
Yo.
Both of you
What the?
right. Wrong. The game already over.
Huh?
Fijivillage.
Man.
Get the latest sports updates. Download the Fijivillage app now.
Yeah.
Meet Chalesi the businessman.
Okay.
Chalesi is sad because business is bad. Like really bad. He longs for the better times, times of joy. Yeah, colorful times.
Welcome back. You're watching Fijivillage Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Our guest tonight, Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka, talking about how the coalition government is moving forward, of course, after 100 days in office, the pertinent issues that matter to people. And you have also sent your questions in. Thank you for sending the questions in. Some were very private issues, matters that we have forwarded to the office of the Prime Minister to address, and also to the relevant ministries, and we will ensure that responses are received in relation to that. We have a question from Naveen Maharaj, Mr. Prime Minister. He is saying, is the government of the day promoting nepotism within our community and hatred towards Indo-Fijians? And is it taking revenge on former Fiji First Party appointees?
Thank you very much. The answer is no.
No other comments to Naveen Maharaj? Just no? Straight?
No, there is no nepotism. There is no revenge on former Fiji First supporters. I don't even know who the Fiji First supporters are.
Patrick Sharma asking, does the Prime Minister recognize all citizens of Fiji as Fijians, as stated in the Constitution, just like all citizens of Australia call Australians?
Yes, it's constitutionally correct that we're all Fijians.
Now, the other question is about the Great Council of Chiefs, and there were several questions came in about the separation of powers, and people want to know the formation of the Great Council of Chiefs. We know the historic day is arriving soon, end of May, where we will have the GCC sit again on the island of Bau. What is the plan in terms of the setting it up through regulation and its place in Fijian society?
Now, well, that's all under the Minister for Itaukei Affairs at the moment. They have a task force that's putting everything together, and also arranging the preparatory work for the first meeting to be held on Bau later next month. As far as separation of powers are concerned, people should not be worried. Fijians should not be worried about what the Great Council of Chiefs get to do. They will be, as they have always been, they advise the government and anybody. They just an advisory role, but mostly they will be there as leaders of the indigenous communities, communities of Fiji and Rotuma. And what the government is concerned about, and the administration, in the law and order situation, etc., it can take to the council chiefs so that they can use their own channel of communication and command to improve the situation.
Leading up to the elections, you had said you'd also take some issues to the Great Council of Chiefs, like unlocking the potential relating to Itaukei land. A lot of Itaukei land not utilized, a lot of Itaukei land rich, cash poor. What are some of the recommendations coming through in relation to that?
That will have to be taken to them, but at the moment, a lot of people don't like the idea of the land being nationalized. But it is nationalized. It's beyond the control of the Great Council of Chiefs. It is under the law of Fiji that land is administered.
So any discussions will have to go through the Itaukei Land Trust Board?
Correct.
Are you planning to do that, to look at utilization of Itaukei land and a win-win situation for more agriculture produce, more production?
We can only do that as a matter of communal or societal leadership to encourage the people in the Vanuas and the Matangalis and the various Tokotokas, etc., to make their land, convert their assets, convert their inheritance into capital, and make their ownership of these things fungible, something that they can bank and get money on. If we read the book by Hernando de Soto, a very highly qualified economist in the world, he talks very clearly about the importance of property rights. The title of his book is Why Does Capitalism Thrive in the West and Nowhere Else? And it goes down in its investigation around the world. It comes down to property rights. And he finds out that tribally owned properties are of very little monetary value to the owners. They are sentimental. They continue to own it. It will not be taken away from them. But then they will be a cash-strapped society all their lives.
Are you trying to change that?
No, I'm not trying to change it. I'll tell them, if you want to change it, you can change it. I'm not trying to change it.
You had said before the elections that that's something that can be looked at, because it's about the trust in how that would be done as well.
They will have to do it. I mean, the people will have to do it on the advice of their chiefs. As far as we are concerned, as I'm concerned, I'm a politician, I'm a political leader. I will work with the will of the people.
Eremasi Mavi has sent this question, Mr. Prime Minister. He would like to ask you as to when can the teachers expect their contract to be formally wiped out to ensure job security is up to 60 years, as some are still holding on to contracts until today.
It is just the administration catching up with the policy decision made, so they should not worry. No, the contract will not be executed as far as those teachers are concerned. When it's time for the contracts to be, when the contracts come to an end, it will just move on to the next, where they revert to a career type engagement.
So Eremasi and those teachers out there, there's an assurance there. It's just an administrative issue. It doesn't mean that you will be let go within the contract term.
And they should not worry, they should not wait until their contract ends. They should now be telling the authorities, the Ministry of Education, I have a contract. My contract runs out on such and such a date. Please consider what you're going to do and let me know now so that I'm ready. Stay on and work on, or be prepared to be relocated.
Nico has asked, in terms of wastage, Mr. Prime Minister, some government vehicles are still leaving engine running while the driver tilts the seat backwards in a sleeping position. What are the plans of the coalition government on that?
We want to stop that, and anybody, if Nico finds another government vehicle parked with the driver sleeping comfortably, engine going, air conditioning on, send it in, and they will be disciplined.
We'll get the number that people can send it on after this show to ensure the message goes through that the coalition government would not like this to continue. There's another question, Mr. Prime Minister. Will the coalition government consider reintroduction of COLA, cost of living adjustment?
That is an issue. I do not know whether it was discussed in the economic summit, but it is an issue that is quite natural in some areas. And for us in Fiji, it is one that we really need to be looking at, because the cost of living we have in Fiji is dependent on pressures that are exerted on us by the international community and our supply chain and so on, and supply sources. They affect what we pay here as a cost of living, and I believe that the cost of living adjustment as a way of making sure that your take-home pay can still buy you the same thing you bought last year.
So that will be something under consideration
Yes.
as you go through the budget.
Yes.
There was a hint that maybe personal income tax, the threshold may be lowered. Of course, it's at $30,000, which means that anyone who is working, their salary level is $30,000 or less, they do not pay income tax at the moment, personal income tax. There's some suggestion to get more revenue, lower the personal income tax threshold. What is your stand?
We will listen to the government agencies that are out there. We have the Bureau of Statistics that conduct household income and expenditure surveys, and they are the ones that determine that 30 is a reasonable level of income that we should rule off on, and anybody below that would be struggling to have a decent meal and decent accommodation affordable by that level. Lowering it will make more people struggle. Most of the people are now comfortable when you put it at 30, and on the other hand, people might say, okay, don't work for any promotion. Once you get over that, you'll be taxed. It can be a negative influence. But leaving it at 30, we've worked with it over the last few years, and bringing it down will cause more strain.
And people are already strained. Going to the next question about continuous rising prices. Cost of living remains a major concern. People have been sending us questions and comments that non-price control items, it seems like the cost is increasing from a fortnight to the next fortnight. When they're going, prices are increasing by 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents, and some comparisons have been made. What is the government and organizations like FCCC doing about this?
Well, FCCC have been doing their work. They've been looking at those. They are looking at what the consumers are saying, what the prices are doing, and those who are levying those prices. And I believe they are the ones who are telling government whether we should have a control or leave it open in an open market economy like we have. Small in scale, but still open.
One of the things you said earlier was about let's look at wastage before we look at where we'll get the revenue from. Will that be the theme for you, looking at all the recommendations?
Yes, it will be. We'll be looking at the work. See, the potholes that we have, they should not be there so early after the completion of the building of the roads. So somebody was sleeping on the job. They did not make sure that the quality of the metal, crushed metal, put out, and the sealing, and the material that had gone into the building of that road comply with the requirements put out in the contract with the lending agencies, whether it be the World Bank or Asian Development Bank or whatever. When they put out the cost of the road, they will have calculated the materials that are going to be used and the quality of the material. Whether the contractors actually bought the compliant materials, we do not know. A lot of them buy a lot of the machines that are left after the contract. How much of the contract price went into their tools and machinery?
And roads shouldn't definitely be opening up within weeks after they are constructed.
Correct. That's what I say. It's it's the materials they use.
But we were spending billions of dollars on roads.
Yes, and somebody is not checking. Quality control.
Kailesh Kumar from Nandi has got a question, Mr. Prime Minister. He's saying, from around January this year, two places at Queen's Highway, around Nandi and Lautoka, are causing a major traffic havoc to public, affecting work and school with delays. One at Malolo, just around SVHS Junction, and the other just in front of Pandit Vishnu Deo and Uni Fiji. Actually, the roads have never been that worse prior to December. The government has money to spend on Girmit and Sukuna Day celebration, almost $1 million in total for both. But why can't they first prioritize the main things affecting the public on a daily basis? We are hurting every day. Please at least try to fix the main highways around the west, and especially between Nandi and Lautoka, as that's where more tourists move around and that's where Fiji gets revenue from. When will this be fixed?
I don't know the area he's talking about, but all those complaints, when they come to me, I ask the minister responsible for the infrastructure, roads, etc., the Honorable Tiswau, and he immediately puts his his teams on to work on those. So that was not brought up to me, so I do not know whether it's still there. Does he know whether it's still there or has it been fixed?
He said it's still there. This was sent this afternoon.
Okay. Well, I'll see what can be done.
Kailash will be getting back to you after the Prime Minister looks into this issue. The allocation of budget for Girmit and Ratu Sukuna Day, there were some public concerns raised about $500,000 each in relation to budget allocation. What's your comment on that?
That can be funded from the existing budget because there is a head 50 there that you can draw from, or savings in other areas, similar areas that from the multi-ethnic for the Girmit festival costs, and also for Ratsukuna from the Tokay, not only from the Tokay ministry, but also from the Tokay organizations that are out there, like Fijians Trust Fund, which is not public fund.
So in your view, it is necessary to have these two celebrations. You have made it clear that Girmit and Ratu Sukuna Day, we're having it because it will bring about national unity. Now some people are saying we are concerned about the money that's being spent.
Well,
what's your message to them?
If you spend 1 million for the rest of time, and you don't spend anything else in the years to come, like we do for Christmas. The government does not spend any money for Christmas, does it?
No, it doesn't, but what's your message to the people?
This is a one-time expenditure. Ratsukuna Day will be celebrated this for the first time this year. So will Girmit Day be. So let's do it this year. After that, if the government says there's another holiday next year, don't expect the same expenditure because people will just go and celebrate with their families.
Because Girmit is coming for the first time
Yeah.
ever, and Ratu Sukuna Day, of course, was
Yeah,
scrapped as
brought
a
back.
holiday.
Yeah.
And your thought process is it brings about unity and understanding of culture and tradition?
Yes, and from now on it will be just a day when speakers are engaged in communities to tell the younger generation about who Ratsalala Sukuna was and who are Girmitiers, who were the Girmitiers, what is left of them now, and appreciate the role that their descendants have played in the development of this country. Maybe in the future they will say, we need to spend money to educate the people on how much our great-grandfathers had done in the development of this nation. We demand that the government pays money to educate us.
Education curriculum is another issue connected to this. A lot of people not knowing about Fijian history or whatever has been written. Will that be reviewed as well as part of knowledge sharing for the younger generation, be it for the Itoke community and the tradition and culture and the Indo-Fijian community and culture?
Whether you put it into the main curriculum of the education system or make it part of the extracurricular activities that you conduct in schools, like in sports, that you have a cultural study session in a week, in a school week, Monday to Friday. Put aside some time for that sort of thing. We used to have it in Queen Victoria School when I was there, and it was not an examinable subject, but it is good for people to fortify themselves of the cultural wisdom that's left. There's a lot of it there. A lot of it adds to your character when you understand them and the meaning of their contribution to who you are now.
You're watching the Fijivillage Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. We'll be back after this break.
It's Arceus! Arceus wins it to death!
Download the all-new Fijivillage app. Get the latest news direct to your mobile. Get the latest sports updates from our scoreboards online. Navigate easily through our categories. Watch videos from Straight Talk interviews, local music videos, sports and many more. You can now easily listen to your favorite radio stations from your phone. Download the all-new Fijivillage app right now.
Welcome back. You're watching Fijivillage Straight Talk. I'm Vijay Narayan. Our guest tonight, we're lucky to have Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka taking out some time from his busy schedule to talk to us and to address many of the questions that you have sent to us. The next question in relation to TELS, Tertiary Education Loan Scheme and National Toppers. People are asking, some of the coalition partners had made it clear that we will write off student debt before the election, and now it still hasn't been done. Statement has been made that it will be done and there will be a bond system. And there's another group that's asking those who are on the TELS program studying right now and those who will be potential people who will be coming into programs, how is that being handled? If you can address that, please.
It will be a merit-based scholarship, whether you call it toppers or merit-based. You still, it sounds like a discriminatory term when you use toppers. What about the rest? Are they bottomers?
Well, you are the Prime Minister. Will you change the name or what will you do?
It will be just scholarship on the needs, based on needs. What's the need of the employment market? What do we need to be training? We need to be training doctors. How many doctors in a year? And we look at the selection of science subjects that they have done at school, and we say, okay, for a person to qualify during the period specified for the achievement or the attainment of an MBBS degree, it should take them 4 years. If you have this foundation knowledge going into a course, you should do it. And that's where they work out, okay, these are the people who qualify to go into this course if they're that way inclined. Otherwise, the rest go into the other arts and science qualification things. And now we have revived the technical training in the schools. That's another avenue where people can go into and have skills development at home. Right now, we are importing skilled laborers for our skills requirement in the labor force at home here in Fiji. That used to be not an issue because almost every secondary school had some basic technical training for those that were going to come out after sixth form or seventh form. We're trying to get that back, and we must honor achievements. A lot of people think that if they do not get a university degree, they have failed. No, they have not. They have not failed, and a lot of people who make it in life are the ones who learned after school.
So the loan scheme, what happens to that?
The loan is not a loan now. That is taken over by government. It will write it off and take their names off. Those who are now classified as having loans, when we said we'll write off the loans, that means that the whole debt is written off.
Written off.
So none of them personally carrying a debt.
The other people who are asking that they're currently still in the program, on the loan program, what happens to them?
Whether the education ministry has already worked out whether they continue, and if they continue, how will that be funded? Can they fund that on their own, or if they be given scholarships to complete their program?
So
those that are coming into the thing will have to be sorted out. Those that are qualified to continue with their studies will go and do that at government cost.
So if the students, and this is something where clarification is needed, if the student is in a program at the moment, the ministry will make an assessment, and
Yes.
the criteria will be coming out when the budget comes out?
No, they should have already been working on it. And when the budget comes out, it will be the allocation to the completion of those courses.
Courses.
On a merit based. Those that do not will probably have to bite the bullet and say, okay, you complete your course. You're not doing well. You're not doing well, and you could have piled up a lot of debt. But make sure you finish this, and you're given a time. Finish your course in this time. That's how much government is going to fund your training.
So it will be based on merit, based on performance, but if people are not doing well, the grades are not good, then you will decide as the government.
Not the government. If the universities do not like what they see in the progress of the students, they can terminate their scholarship.
What happens to the new students who
The
are...
new students will be the ones that will go into the merit-based allocation of scholarships.
And would they be based on, because previously there were thousands who were coming through the program under through loans or toppers.
Yeah.
So what happens going forward? No loans,
No loans.
only scholarships.
They can loan privately. They can borrow privately.
Government loans.
No, government is not going to be funding their education. If you want to go for that, you either borrow your money or you qualify by your
So no
by your
student
marks.
loans going forward for the new students. It will only be merit-based scholarships.
Correct.
Mr. Rabuka, just in relation to water disruptions, we've talked about that, plans going forward. You're saying $800 million, maybe it will be right to look at funding to make sure it's all done. One of the things that the Water Authority has said is that with climate change, a lot of things are changing as well, where in the past the West did not get enough rain, hence they set up Vaturu Dam, and the East, there was an anticipation the East will always have rain based on this side always getting rain in the past. Now things have sort of changed. The latest hydrological data states that there's more rain in the West now than rain on our side in the East. And maybe looking at building our systems making it future-proof, because this may continue. Is there any thought process going into looking at this kind of infrastructure, which is a basic need of life, water, thousands of people affected every day?
Yes. We cannot try and anticipate the trend of the changes in our climate and the intricacies of the weather. Whether we're getting more rain now in the West. We all learned in geography in the olden days that the rain was on the East mostly because of the relief nature of the island of Vijay. There is a barrier. There is a barrier mountain where the rain-laden clouds hit the top of the hill and then get rid of the rain on this side, and dry cloud moves onto the west. Now the wind directions have also changed because of climate change. It's no longer just the southeast trade winds that we now experience. Sometimes we get wind from the opposite direction, and how much rain they're bringing. It depends also on the various changes. As I said earlier in the interview, we are not getting the same amount of rain that we normally would have gotten this time of the year or earlier in the year. And that has caused the water levels at the dams, at the reservoirs, and even the main dam for the hydroelectric supply, hydroelectricity supply. That's lowering because of the rainfall in that area. So for us, moving forward, we'll just have to budget for parallel or proportional increase or improvement of the capacity of the infrastructure to cater for the increase in the population in the rural in the urban areas, fed by our piped water supply systems, and also for electricity, and we move away, not away from, but rely more on renewable energy, photovoltaic systems of solar. We have a windmill a windmill system in Nisingatoka there that probably performing well below capacity because it's not properly located with the wind direction and the force of the wind turning the turbines there and the blades. Those are the things that we'll have to be aware of moving forward. No longer are we going to be talking that more rain on the east than the west. Now we know that it's more rain in the west now than in the east. So what do? We improve the catchment on the west and retain the ones we have in the east, or try and look at other options like desalination and so on.
And address the underinvestment,
Yeah.
especially the water infrastructure.
Yeah.
There's another question here sent in, Mr. Prime Minister. The question is, why are the hours of the nightclubs being reviewed when the police force is not doing their job to monitor crowded places, and many young boys continue to be seen loitering and robbing people at night? Why can't there be foot patrols in the heart of the city, and why these culprits are not taken into custody or questioned?
They are being taken in. The police have been out on patrol, both foot patrol and mobile vehicular patrols, and but then the night, he asked first or she asked first, why is it being reviewed? It's being reviewed because most of the complaints have come from the people about young people being rowdy very early in the morning when they come out of nightclubs, when they close at 5 o'clock or whatever time it is, and a lot of it is causing social problems in the areas of, in the peripheries of the nightclub areas. I see it all the time in Chuva and in the Namaka area, and I question, where do they get their money from?
Till after 5 in the morning.
Yes, to be drinking all night.
And even Sydney, areas like Sydney, they close it around 3 in the morning.
Yes,
and
yeah.
stop serving drinks at around 2.
It's a lot of people are going to be affected. The nightclub owners, they'll probably have their income affected. The workers, they'll probably have hours of work affected. So we'll have to look at all those in the research that the authorities are going to be conducting in the meantime as we continue the review and they send in their recommendations. Those are the factors, those are the issues that they will have to collect and bring to the authorities.
There's a public consultation tomorrow at Suvavau House from 10 a.m. to midday on proposed review of nightclub hours. So if you are interested in that, the question sent in, you can also go and make your submission there. There's a question in relation to minimum wage, whether it will be reviewed again.
We want to know whether we have implemented what the government had promised, and the effect on the employers. Whether that has been done or not, I do not know whether people have reported that the employers have complied, and we want to know what the effect of that on society has been.
A question from Sumit Singh. He had said before the elections, comments were made about allowances and overseas trips, 3,000 a day for the Prime Minister. It was stated back when the previous government was in place. And the Prime Minister confirmed the amount for allowances paid to ministers, including him, for overseas trips per day, and will this be reviewed?
At the moment, it's still the same level, because it's not been changed. And to change that will require the work of the Emoluments Committee of Parliament to deal with that and to be taken through Parliament as an act to amend the emoluments allowances, emoluments and allowances for members of Parliament.
So that will be done soon?
Yes.
Will be reviewed?
Yes.
Question,
Even the cabinet ministers are saying, so we need to review this very quickly.
need to reduce it.
Yes.
Question raised about employment opportunities for young graduates. As there are no recruitments being made, although there are positions available within the ministries, many staff from government positions are seeking job opportunities overseas. And these are graduates who are coming out. There's a person who also messaged they have an animal science degree and they're waiting for opportunities to open up. And there's a freeze on positions. Will there be any chance of young graduates to cater for and secure government jobs?
There can be no guarantee. There is a ceiling on recruitment at the moment, and the establishment of the civil service is based on the requirement of the nation. How many people do we need to be working in government to look after the population we now have? And periodically the Public Service Commission looks at that, the delivery of service, and also conducts its reviews, even at the office. When they look at so many people queuing up and only a few customer relations people handling them, they will come up with recommendations. We don't have enough.
We talked about wastage. Forensic audits were being discussed, that the proper forensic audits are needed to look at government contracts, tender processes. Will people be taken to task for abuse of office and squandering of taxpayers' money? As people are saying that holding people accountable is critical to stop this rot that affects the citizens of the country. What's your comments on that?
I intend to make sure we do that where there is there are concerns raised. People should be open. They can write in the questions to you, but very few of them can actually go to a police station and put their name down. I'm reporting this. Very, very few. You'll go to social media. We'll go to questions to Vijay Narayan to ask the Prime Minister or this Minister or that, but they will not go and make a report and be responsible for that corrective action that starts from a simple report. I believe this is happening. And leave it to the authorities. They will establish whether there is a prima facie case for investigation, and then the DPP takes over to, or the FICAC can take it over. We need people who now believe there is. If they believe there is, they go and make the report.
There's comments about revenge, and that some of the Fiji First MPs and former MPs have been taken in for questioning, continue to be investigated. Comments have been made, and just last week the former Attorney General said that this is a political witch hunt. What's your comments on that?
Have the political persons, have those of us in politics, in government, lodged those reports? Who lodged the reports?
It wasn't you.
It wasn't me. So I'm not out on revenge. I'm not out on a witch hunt. Who made those reports?
Why do you think he's saying that? Do you think...
He's generalizing. He's generalizing. It's the law that hunts, not people.
The police force has made clear that they do not get influenced by anyone. You made that clear within your government as well on any investigations that are underway, because there's an expectation as well from members of the public as we were heading into the elections that people should be held accountable for their actions if the coalition government or if the party that you led come into power, that there needs to be proper accountability and transparency. Is that process being handled, and how is that system unfolding?
I believe it is being handled properly, and people must know that we are only in office for 4 years. If you don't do it right, if you now out on witch hunt, 4 years later somebody will be out of after you.
So what have you told your people?
I
Of course,
don't know.
I see there's audits are still underway. You're still looking at audits.
Yes,
And if anybody has done things on the wrong side of the law, they'll pay the price,
that's correct. That's correct.
irrespective of who they are or who they were.
That's right. I was subjected to a lot of that before, but I'm not going to do it for people if I don't have anything to report. I have not been studying people's performances. People have been talking about it, not me.
And you let the investigators take their course.
Let the investigation, let the witnesses, those that have evidence, go up to the people who are responsible for carrying out the proper investigations.
You came in as Prime Minister on Christmas Eve. Parliament set and continued with the sessions. Your main opponent, the opposition leader, got into trouble with Parliament privilege and had to leave based on the decision that was made. You made a call for understanding that night in Parliament, and you felt that some people listened, some people didn't. How do you feel going into 4 months and the opposition leader has now changed? Do you see a change of how things are happening between the government and opposition?
Opposition leader is there to organize the opposition, those in his party on the other side of the house, to be scrutineers of what the government does. They scrutinize everything we do. They are like our quality control inspectors. They make sure that everything we bring in of the quality required for the proper administration of Fiji and its people, Fiji and the Fijians. And that's what I expect from Honorable Zeratu and his team of the other 25 that make up the opposition. And I don't expect any less. If they do less than that, they are betraying their voters who put them there.
My question on a review of the constitution or the voting system that we have in the next 4 years, will you be looking at some of those issues as priority, or you think there's other more pressing matters?
No, it is a pressing matter, but it's the methodology. Changing the constitution is not as easy as people think. The 3/4 majority in the House and so on, to get that, it's 3/4 or 2/3, to get in the House and the vote, 3/4 in the House, and then 3/4 of the registered voters.
Registered voters in a
Yeah,
referendum.
in a referendum. They're all very difficult. Then there's also the taking it through the courts, and whether you can do that now, this far into the abrogation of the Constitution. If you look at the judgment written by the appeals court judges on the Ngarase versus Bainimarama and others about the Constitution, they concluded that the Constitution has not been properly abrogated. However, there is a declaration right at the end. It's a 46-page report by the judges of the Court of Appeal. And they also made a declaration saying that the President may appoint an interim, a caretaker Prime Minister, who would recommend that a writ and fresh elections be entered into. So that to me is there is a door through that way, and it will not be possible to point a finger at anybody being culpable in the activities of that emanated from the abrogation of the 1997 Constitution. So those are the things that proper constitutional lawyers will have to look at if we elect to go down that path of questioning the legal status of where we are now and what we have done.
At this point in time, you're not looking at that?
Not yet. There are more pressing issues to be looking at.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much for your time. You've come today and answered all our questions that the people have sent. They were sending in questions as soon as we said that you'll be coming in. And we've also requested that the Prime Minister, with his busy schedule, if he can come to this show on regular intervals to listen to your concerns on what you're saying and give his side of the story on how he's leading the country and the challenges that the nation is facing. We hope that we can get you back before maybe the budget announcement and after the budget announcement on how things will unfold. So thank you again on behalf of our listeners and our users and our viewers that you managed to make it tonight.
Thank you very much, Vijay. I try and make a press statement at the end of the budget. That's every fortnight. So if you can sort of organize something like this every other month, that'll be regular enough to summarize what we have done in the previous cabinet, in the interim period after the previous one. We can do that, and we owe it to the people to keep them informed of what's going on, and that is all part of transparency and being accountable. Getting the people, allowing the people to ask their questions, that's very, very healthy.
There you go. That's the assurance from the Prime Minister, Mr. Rabuka. Until next time, have a great evening.
Kenapa?
Oh, nasa buhay school. Kahit na bilang, may sarili, okay?